I am really pleased to welcome on my show Awakening on KindaSound, Ian Lynch. How are you, Ian?
I'm really happy to be here talking to you, Giles. I have to say, I've been looking forward to having a good conversation with you about life and all the good things, the real things. So here we are.
Here we are, Ian, and also welcome back to KindaSound.
Yeah, yeah, indeed. It's lovely to be back.
Yeah, it's lovely to have you back as well. Some of you KindaSounders will know that Ian, for many, many months, had a show, Rites of Man, and I'm so pleased to welcome you back, Ian. And this is mainly stimulated by the fact that for Father's Day, my dear wife Juliet got me your fantastic book and card set, Rites of Man. I'm going to hold that up here, Rites of Man. And wow, I am so appreciative of you for creating this. And I just wanted to say right off the bat that within the realm of personal development, shall we say, there's a lot aimed at women and much less at men. As if, I don't know why, men are just going to work it out, chat down the pub, or just keep it within. I don't know how we're going to get through it. I don't think that's true at all. And what you've done is put together something that is so helpful. So first of all, Ian, thank you for creating it. And what was your motivation for putting it together?
Well, thank you. You're very kind. And it is interesting. And that was really the motivation. I used to go to America quite a lot, and I'd go into some of the new age type shops or some of the book shops, because they all have that self-help, self-development section that's pretty big. I'd go to various retreat centers, and I'd look in the shop, Esalen, places like this. And there'd be all these goddess cards, angel cards, and a lot of them were, well, most of them, I would say, or a good third to a half anyway, were aimed at women. And there was nothing of any merit that was of any sensibility that was there for men. And it got me thinking there and then, well, this is why is this? And maybe I should create something then. You know, that little voice came in, and I thought, yeah, that's not a bad idea. And at the same time, I'd been studying restorative justice, restorative practices in Northern Ireland at the University of Ulster. And I'd also been to prison there, Woking, and I didn't know I was going to go to a prison in California to go and look at that too. That was a couple of years down the line, but I wanted to do something that was not just for people who are already into crystals and new age type things. I wanted something that was able to serve men who'd fallen into tough times, who've been incarcerated, quite frankly, who maybe lifers, even people who had really suffered in their life, as well as a man who was interested in some self-development and self-inquiry, which is what it's really all about, to try to get to a deeper place of connecting with their soul and their essence, so that they can make better decisions and better choices and deal with some of the shadows, such as trauma from childhood, which has taken me years to suddenly realize I've been carrying. And I've done, my goodness me, I've been working on myself, so to speak, since my 20s, and I'm 61 now. And yet I'd healed my father wound, I'd healed my mother wound. What I hadn't done was do anything about the trauma that I experienced in that growing up period. And I was hit with marks, I was shouted at, I was abused, thrown things at, never had any hugs. I knew my parents loved me, but it was a lot of abuse and my parents fighting. And without being hugged, told you're loved, that's, you know, these are some of the big aces really that can send people into trouble with the law. And yes, guess what? I got into trouble with the law. And I became rebellious. So I wanted to have things that in this deck that were a little bit more gritty. So yeah. I know this is a real show. So there is a bullshit card. You know, there is a card when you had enough. You know, it's balls for courage. You know, this is what it's about. But there's brotherhood, there's there's compassion in there, because that's what it's also about. That's when, you know, I can greet someone like you, Giles, and I know, you know, the first time I ever meet, it's going to be a, you know, a fantastic embrace, because we've connected through our hearts and our spirit and our passion. And having watched Step Inside the Circle recently, to see men in prison crying and bonding with one another rather than trying to compete to see who's the toughest is, you know, is what the card deck is really all about. It's why, at a deeper level, I created. I would have loved to have had this as a kid, and I'd love to have had a guiding father or mentor who could have talked me through this before I reached you know, adolescence and adulthood.
Yeah, absolutely, mate. I mean, you know, I wanted to get you on the show as soon as possible once I'd started pulling a few cards and reading the book, just to spread the message out there, really, to all men. I don't own any cards, any set of cards personally, though. Juliet probably has about 20 different sets of these type of things that often will come with a. No, I actually do. I own the Paramahansa Yogananda card deck. Sorry, I do own that one. But the idea is that you pick a card, you shuffle, you pick a card, and then that somehow relates to what you're going through right now. And I've done this as a spiritual practice for the last 7 days, and every single time I've picked something, I'm almost welling up with tears as I then read about it, because it's so true, it's so important. And one of the things as well, and I think you've done, and this is only can come from someone who has done the work over many, many years, is the book is absolutely fantastic, because you pick a card, you've got some keywords. So let's just start here. This is just the one that I picked whilst it came in. It's very appropriate for me. The Fool, the Clown, the Comedian, the Coyote, the Hayoka, the Jester, the Trickster. And then the little bit here, the Fool helps prevent us from taking ourselves and our lives too seriously, and remind us that laughter can heal darkened or lost spirits. And for me, where I am at the moment, as we're speaking, we've pre-recorded this because on the 4th of July it's my birthday. So as this goes live here and I'm partying,
happy birthday!
Oh, happy birthday in a virtual world. But right now, my boy Eli is having surgery on a horrific hand injury, which happened on Monday. We've had to go through a real fight with the NHS for him to be able to have his operation without having a PCR test 24 hours beforehand. It's been a hell of a journey for us, and a very dark journey at times. And being able to pull a card and read and really get into it has really supported me over the last week. But this one today, again, you know, well, what is needed? Well, laughter. Like, let's not take love too seriously. You know, there's a big picture going on here. And then the overview, and then the bit that for me, I mean, you know, Juliet kindly bought this for me. But if you want value for money, it's really, for me, the self-inquiry section. Because you've got, it's almost like what you've laid out here are 70 different workshops that people could do. Because in each of the 69 cards, and then the wild card that's customized to yourself, if a man could just spend a little bit of time, and I am committing to this for a spiritual practice now, working with your fantastic book here, is just to spend a bit of time answering these questions. You know, how much humor are you allowing into your life? Well, since Monday, that's been 0. I don't think I've laughed once. And for me, I am a coyote. I am a jester, you know, because of the severity of what's going on. But it's just reminded me today to smile and to, I mean, your words are poetic. It can heal darkened or lost spirits. So, I mean, how long did this take you to do? And from when you had the idea, you go, I'm thinking about doing a good idea, the voice in the head, and then when it's done.
Wow, well, thank you. And a couple of things there. Well, firstly, then, can I just say something about The Fool first?
Please do, yeah. Yeah,
You know,
absolutely.
I love the Fall because it is that, you know, we can get so serious and life, you know, and as I say, children laughing all the time. As we get adults, we can become overly serious and you know, suffer from hemorrhoids, which don't do us uh, any favors. And one of the things that I love, there is a scene in, there's a North by Northwest. It's an old Alfred Hitchcock film, and I love it. He is being pursued by two guys that want to kill him, the main character. And he gets in the lift, the elevator, with his mother, and he sort of nods that these are the two guys, which they are, trying to kill him, to his mum. And his mum suddenly turns around and says, "Are you trying to kill my son?"
Yeah.
And it is so ridiculous that everybody in the elevator laughs, including Cary Grant, who's you know, who's the guy that's being chased. And you know, it's almost like laughter can do almost anything when it is funny. Gallows humor, you know, it can break the ice, it can bring us back. You know, if we're having an argument with somebody that we love and we, you know, we're losing it and we're going down, you know, to destroying something precious. A bit of laughter can save that relationship, can save our health and everything else. And I needed some of that on this journey, because I got the idea in 2015, in the autumn, something like that, in the fall. And in the fall, boom, boom, but FALL. And I went to San Diego in the June for my birthday. And I met an old friend of mine, and I mentioned to him, he said he'd be interested. And I thought, actually, a good fit for the artwork. So he inputted it into it as well. Because, I mean, when you start from scratch, what do you have in a card deck? You know, there are so many things, nuances, tolerance, you know, patience. Do you have tolerance or patience, as an example? Then there is the formatting of it. How do you do this? Is it one piece of prose? Is it tiny? Is it just like some of these card decks when, you know, tolerance will help you to deal with the tough moments in your life? And it's just short and sweet and doesn't really do anything. So I wanted to go into depth, but as you say, each one could be a workshop, and each one could last for you know, a weekend, quite frankly. So each one could be a book in and of itself, a course, a training course. All together, because Sean and myself parted company, and we disagreed over some of the things that should be in the deck, and I'm not going into all the details, but so I completely then got my project back to how I wanted it, without an artist at that stage. So it was kind of a scary time, and I had to dig in with some laughter about it. I rewrote it, you know, kept certain things, and fate brought me, are you ready for this? A female artist, dun, 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 which, you know, to Sean would not how he would have done it. Had to be a man as far as he's concerned. But to me, it was somebody who could capture the essence. I don't think it needs, you know, art needs to be man or woman.
Of course.
To actually put the words of expression into it, be very difficult, I think, for a woman to do that. I was asked, "Oh, you're going to do one for you know, a card deck for women?" And I just, not bloody likely.
No, it's...
in fact, completely ridiculous. I didn't say that bit. What do I know about what it is like to be a woman? I don't. So no. And there you have it. I published it last year, finally got the artist. It was, the artwork came out and everything came out September last year.
It is absolutely beautiful. I love the cover. I mean, the back of the artwork's beautiful. The cards, it all feels so nice. It's a kind of like a classic, absolutely classic thing. Do you have a favorite card?
I have a friend of mine that does like the Planet card.
I got that recently. I got that a few days ago. Funnily enough, I looked through the book, you know, I was flicking through the book, and then it came out. I thought,
I used to have favourites, Giles. I did, and I would. I mean, it goes back to a card deck I had when I was married, and I get the card deck Sorrow, and I'd pick another card because I didn't want that one. You know, it was, I didn't realize that this was, well, I kind of did. Well, I knew I did actually. I was avoiding, you know, going and looking at grief in my life. I didn't realize how badly. Now I picked anger the other day and I thought, yes, just what I needed. Freedom I picked yesterday and I've picked it again today. That's a juicy card. When I get father wound, mother wound, they are, I can't say they're my favorites, but they don't touch me as much as they used to. I think I can look at every single one now, and in all honesty, they all have a message. They all have something for me. So no, I don't have a favorite.
Yeah. I just want to get this out there to people, really, Ian, because I think what you've done is, it's like you say. I mean, I've been to these bookshops as well, and it's just lacking. The support for men is lacking. I mean, you know, Juliet's been running these women's circles for however long, and what is the man's circle? Is it the pub? Well, the pub, you know, all right, you can go in a pub now and sit with a few people. Not that I have, but you know, the rights of man, as we may have had in our society years gone by, or possibly certainly within tribal societies, it seems they're so lacking the rights of man in terms of that transition, in terms of, well, when do you become you know, you enter adolescence, or you enter, you know, what is it, these actual aspects and the support and help that we do need. And it's only been the last week, in all honesty, of working with this, that I've realized how much I need it. You know, and I've been you know, probably not to as many courses as you, but you know, I've been to a few. You know what I mean? I've been into the path for 25 years, but actually, it's a tool for me. This is a tool to do the work, inquiry, guidance, and self-leadership for men, and it's providing all of these things. So I just think it's a wonderful. It really is a great gift. How's it been received in?
Very well. Interesting enough, you've made me think that I perhaps ought to now consider doing some online offerings on particular topics, and again, who will come along comes along. If it's just me talking to myself about the fall, then that's fine, because I've got involved with the Compassion Prison Project, and they are interested in my card deck book. I know this will catch off at some point. I definitely need to be doing some courses for guys, and I fully intend to now. It's been an odd year. Well, it's not even a year actually, but an odd 9 months, because you know, after finishing it, it was like and then it's only now that, having completed it and with the input kindly that you've offered, that it's made me think, yeah, this isn't just a card deck. This is, because it's a conversational point. It's to have inquiry, which you can do on your own, but of course it's much richer to do it with other men. You know, to share their experiences. You know, freedom is going to be very different to somebody who's been incarcerated in prison. I mean, freedom is going to be very different to somebody who has been wandering around the planet all their life, kind of thing. And so many different things, different experiences. That's how we learn and support one another. So yeah, I will do that. I have a good friend of mine, Kenny, who runs a series of men's groups right across the week. But I feel that to take topics and run something more like a masterclass sharing, not really a masterclass, because I mean, we're all the masters on our own life. If we can just stop to tune in, because really, I was thinking about this. This is about all the different nuances and aspects, which what makes it interesting. And there was somebody I connected with who wanted to do a tarot reading on it, and I didn't want it to be sort of set up in that way. And yet, guess what? Oh my God, does it work? Yes, it's ridiculous. Well, of course it works, because it's got all that. These are all about us. We're shuffling it. We're putting into our energy into it. So, you know, what's going on? Where are we going? It does work. Can't get away from it. I shuffle cards and something shoots on the floor, and it's like, oh my goodness me, it's the same card again. Obviously I haven't inquired enough.
Yeah. It's just, it's tools, isn't it? I think, I mean, as men, we need, I mean, everyone needs it. My old friend John Bradley says you need tackle to do the job. You need the tools for the job. And my little boy, I'm putting my yurt up today and in the garden, preparation for the birthday. And I haven't had my yurt up for about 3 or 4 years. It's a real spiritual thing made of English ash. And I've been building the base with my boy, Zachary, who's not quite 4. And we're building it. And he says, Dad, you've got the tools for the job. Because if something needs fixing, his dad's got the tools for the job, right? And I've got a bit of know-how and everything. And I really feel that what you've provided to the world here and you've gifted to the world with this Rites of Man card deck and book is tools for the job, and tools that hitherto have not been there. And I'd certainly like to help in any way I can to get this out there. One of the things I've found, mate, is that if I make an album, it's very hard for me to promote it. Because people say to me, the media, and say, oh, well, who wrote the music? Oh, well, I did. Well, who produced it? Well, I did. Well, of course I'm going to say it's good. Of course I'm going to say it's absolutely fantastic. So KindaSounders, I'm letting you know, right? If you're a man, you've got a man in your life, I would go to Ian's website, which is Ian. How do we get hold of you?
It's my name, Ian Lynch, IANLYNCH.net.
IanLynch.net.
.net.
Yeah. Ian Lynch, and you can order the book. And yes. I 100% recommend it. I tell you what, I'm going to be buying copies when birthdays are coming up for my brothers, particularly. I think it's going to be a fantastic benefit to them. I think there's so much scope with it as well, mate, because when you do go into those, the self-inquiry, I was reading and I just read it and I thought I am going to take some time, get a pen and paper, and I'm actually going to do a bit of work. And I'm going to actually say, whereas a moment changed your life for the better, what did you learn or gain from it? I feel I've been going through that in the last few days with this situation of just trying to get treatment for my son from a surgeon who's denying him treatment unless he gets a COVID test first, and having to stand in my power and threaten them with legal action. And God bless, as we speak, I've lit a candle, we've lit the incense here, where prayers go to LER, that he's going to get through his operation well, and he's going to come through it even stronger. But it's in a way, sometimes you need the questions. You need to be given the questions, because on your own, very difficult to navigate through life.
Yeah.
You need absolutely. A guide.
Yes. A bit of help, a sounding board, indeed, because it is that interesting. Anger, for example, if you've got some really big wound going on, you could be getting angry very easily, reactive and so on going on. Anger, once you can manage it, then you can find its cause and you can quieten it down. But the let's do it moment, that it's almost like we've had enough. Something's got to change, or I'm going to blooming well do this, come what may. And that passion, that energy that can come from anger, channeled in a way that isn't necessarily abusive, aggressive, reactive, or something you're going to regret. And of course, if it's slightly abrupt, you can always apologize. But it is all about what's going on inside for you right now. And if you can get to that quicker, then you're going to smile and laugh. You're going to access your heart. You're going to access the best part of you, the juice of your personality, not the sluice of it.
Beautiful, mate. Beautiful. Well, look, Ian, I only have a half an hour show on KindaSound, which is, sometimes a good thing. But sometimes, as is this conversation, I think we can go for a while, mate. I look forward to meeting up in person. We nearly met when we were singing up the ley line, but we didn't quite get to the Ivanhoe Beacon because we saw it was going to be a bit of a walk for us from the old car, and we've been walking a lot. But maybe we'll meet at Ivanhoe Beacon, my friend, and we'll have a meditate or something. Ian, it's been an absolute pleasure to get you back on KindaSound. I know that we heard it was possibly a sabbatical and you'd be coming back. I mean, I'm praying for that. Oh, God. but I know you're busy. What I'd also recommend, mate, is I'd send a copy of this, if you haven't already done so, to the BBC, to the This Morning program, etc. Because Christ, if people don't need this now, if people don't need this help and support now, men, I mean, whenever have they needed it? You know, I don't know, quite frankly, because the crisis that's been going on with people's jobs being taken away, with the stress and pressure of mental health, with the alarming increase in suicides, etc. I think the time is now for this. So, like I say, mate, I'd like to do all I can to help you pump this out. So, ladies and gentlemen, Ian, final closing words from you, my friend.
Giles, you are a gentleman, a shining light, and a great example of what it is to me to be a great man who is operating from a heart and spirit that is kind, generous, and expansive and peaceful. I love you, my friend, and yes, let's meet up.
Bless you. Ladies and gentlemen, KindaSound, Ian Lynch, and Rites of Man.